So let me just give you a little story about how that works with owning and controlling content. So there's two guys, John Lennon and Paul McCartney. They're songwriters. They get together and they write this song called Yesterday. And so they contact a record label, and the record label says, hey, that's a great song. We'd like to record that song. Here's a contract to license the use of that song for a recording. That's called a mechanical license. So EMI, Capitol Records, sends a license agreement over to John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and they say, well, this is done through our publisher, so we sign the license over to our publisher, so you, the record company, should deal with our publisher. So the record company then reaches out to the publisher, and the publisher says, okay, we'll license the use of this song so that it can be recorded on EMI Capitol. EMI Capitol now has a license to use the song, and they go out and they say, we need a band to record this song. So they hire a band called the Beatles to record the song Yesterday. Well, it just so happens that John Lennon and Paul McCartney are in the band the Beatles. So EMI Cap signs the Beatles to a recording contract, and now they get into the studio where the record company says to the band, the Beatles, that they will pay them a royalty every time one of the recordings is sold. A percentage every time one of the recordings is sold. Well, in order to get the license, the C-Circle copyright license for the song in the first place, they have to agree to pay the publisher 9.1 cents per song per replication. So that means that every time they record, they make a recording and they make a copy of that recording, they have to pay the publisher 9.1 cents per song per replication. The publisher then takes half of that money and then gives the other half to the songwriters, Lennon and McCartney. So Lennon and McCartney have 50% of the total publishing dollars, and they split that between themselves. So Lennon gets 25%, McCartney gets 25%, the publishing company gets 50%. That's the publishing dollars of the 9.1 cents per song per replication. Now, EMI Records, they recorded it with the band, the Beatles, and they start recording it. Promoting it. They put it on radio. They try and get it on any outlet they can in order to sell units. Every time they sell a unit, they have to pay a percentage to the band, the Beatles. So let's just say it's a 10% deal. The record company keeps 90%. The band makes 10%. The band then has to pay the 4 members of the band. So each of the band makes 2.5% of the MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price, of the recording. So if the song is downloaded for $1, the record company pays the Beatles a dime, and then each of the members who recorded on that session would make 0.5 cents. So that means that John Lennon and Paul McCartney make publishing money, and they make recording money, different royalties. The other 2 members of the band do not make the C-Circle copyright licensing money. They only make their percentage from the P-Circle copyright sale that is owned by the record company. So, for example, if an orchestra wants to now record the song Yesterday, they don't have to contact EMI. They have to contact the publisher, which means the orchestra could do the same and record the same song, different P-Circle copyright, but they're dealing with the publisher for the license of the C-Circle copyright, as opposed to trying to deal with EMI for use of that recording. Now, if they're going to do sampling, you got to who owns the sample? Who owns the master? Right? Back to EMI. So if the orchestra wanted to use a sample of the original recording from EMI, they would get a license to use the P Circle copyright, which is a master use license, and they would get a license from the publisher for a mechanical license. So there'd be two licenses if indeed the orchestra wanted to use a sample of the recording owned by EMI.